Hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, today we're back to talk about more Doctor Who. Now I can't lie, I couldn't really be bothered to review this episode too much, but you know, I've reviewed every episode of The Flux and the last Dalek special, so I thought, you know, we've only got 2 episodes left. I only have to talk about this one. I think the next one there will be a lot more to talk about because it's Jodie's last episode, so I'll actually think I'll be a bit more excited and motivated to review that episode. Legends of the Sea Devil came out last night, and I actually watched it live, you know. I didn't have anything on. I thought, oh, yeah, fine, I'll whack it on this. But, I don't get too hyped to watch Doctor Who live anymore, mainly because the show it's gone downhill a lot. I think a lot of us could agree. I know some people disagree, and that's fine. I'm pleased that you're enjoying this era of Doctor Who, but I am definitely in the camp of, yeah, it's not very good at the moment. But anyway, Legends of the Sea Devil, you know, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it like some episodes of The Flux and some episodes of this entire era. I thought this was an improvement over the last episode for sure. I thought this was better than the Dalek time loop special they done, which was pretty awful. Yeah, so let's start with the positives. First off, I want to talk about the Sea Devils. The Sea Devils episode is the original one from Classic Who. Is one of the few Classic Who episodes I'd seen before these beautiful box sets have been coming out, which is how I've been watching lots of Classic Who. So I actually was aware of them. I remember when I was younger, I used to have a toy of one as well. So yeah, the Sea Devils are something that I actually am a little bit familiar with. And I got to say, I thought the design of them and stuff in this one, they looked fantastic. They looked awesome. And that's one thing I'll give this era of Doctor Who props for. Their redesigning of characters has been brilliant. Like the Cybermen, before they come the silly Time Lord Cybermen, which look stupid. But before then, the Cybermen looked great. The Centaurans looked fantastic. And now we've got the Sea Devils. And all of them have looked so good coming back. So I think they've done a great job in this era of doing that. Also, I really like the voice of this one. A bit different to how they sounded in original Doctor Who, if I remember correctly. But I really like the voices of them. I thought they sounded great. And I like the design of, like, the ship and stuff, and that all looked cool. And the story itself wasn't terrible. I mean, it definitely wasn't very complex at all. It was a very kind of average Doctor Who story, but compared to some of the stories we got from this era, which have been just laughably bad, yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. So there's a props, I guess. Let's have a look at some negatives. The effects, I don't get it. Like, some bits in this era of Doctor Who look fantastic, and there are some shots that do. There's a bit where you see the TARDIS going through the time vortex in this one again, and it looks great. And obviously, like, they've put so much money, well, they've put a lot of money into making, like, the Sea Devils and stuff look good, but then it cuts to the effects of, like, the ship floating and stuff, and this big sea monster, and it looks really cheap. It looks really cheap. Which, I know Doctor Who never has looked the best, you know, it's always got this campy cheesiness to it, but I don't get it, because there are some bits in this show which look great, and then here, it's also very lazy, the way some of it is filmed. Like, they couldn't be bothered to shoot the Doctor and, you know, swinging across ships, so there's a bit where they swing across, and you literally just see them land on the boat, and then they have to swing back across the other ship, and you just hear them. It's just very lazy. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't know. Surely they could have done something there. Like, just here. There's a few times where stuff like that happens in the episode, where it's just like, okay, that was lazy. Yeah, okay. Also, the plot itself, you know, I mentioned this big sea monster. I genuinely can't even remember what happened to the sea monster. They do this big thing where he sort of shows up. It's this epic moment. And, you know, for me, it gave me proper Pirates of the Caribbean vibes. I thought it was going to be a giant octopus. But anyway, they went with this giant eel type thing, I think. Loads of teeth. Shows up, eats this one guy on a boat. And then it's like, do we see it again? I can't even remember. It just sort of has this big epic entrance and then they do nothing with it. It's like, I don't really see the point of... I didn't see the point of it being in the episode. But, hey-ho, it was there. The sword fights were kind of funny, because, you know, the Sea Devils and stuff, I'm guessing they're meant to be trained at sword fighting, even though they look pretty clunky fighting, but, you know, the guy's in a big suit, so I guess, again, just one of those things, the editing team probably could have done better there. But anyway, you know, these Sea Devils, I'm guessing they're meant to be pretty well trained and stuff, but, you know, Yaz and the Doctor putting up good fights against them, you know. I mean, the Doctor does lose her sword eventually, but it's just a bit like, oh, okay, here we are. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really have loads more to say about the episode. I sort of forgot that Dan and the side characters were there because it focused so much on the Doctor and Yaz, which is good. I'm really annoyed that they copped out of them two kissing again. It's like one of those things where it's like, okay, we're going to have our first Doctor, you know, same-sex relationship here. It's like, okay, that's cool. There's no problem with that for me. But it's just that thing of like, you know they're going to finally kiss right before either Yaz dies or goes away, or right before the Doctor regenerates. And it's like, it just feels like a cop-out to me. Why don't we have them, you know, kiss in this one, or at the end of the last episode when I thought they were going to do it? Was it the end of the last one or the end of Flux? I can't remember. But it would have been great if they'd kissed in one of the last ones, because then we could have had this whole episode where it's like, oh, we're actually sort of in a relationship. How interesting would that be? Instead of doing something that we've seen happen before in Doctor Who, where it's like, right at the end, they admit their feelings to each other. I mean, well, they sort of admitted it here, but then they just sort of went, we're not doing it, though. But we know they will in the next one. It's guaranteed they will. So I just feel like it's a big cop-out, and I'm just, quite frankly, just bored of it. And, yeah. Do I have anything else to say? Not really. It was just your typical standard modern day Doctor Who episode where it's sort of middle of the road. Not a cringy dialogue, pretty uninteresting story, and some good and bad effects mixed together with everything else. Yeah, the episode for me was just, I don't want to slag it off too much because I don't think it was, as I say, I've seen worse in the Flux. And I think this was an improvement over the Dalek time loop one, which was just laughable. So, yeah, but I give it a 4.5 out of 10. I thought the episode was slightly below average. Yeah, hopefully, I do hope the finale is good for Jodie. It'd be nice for her to go out well, I guess. But, you know, more or less just can't wait for next year of Doctor Who. Anyway, there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and as always, I'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.